And then we have eat watermelon and fried chicken.
Fried chicken and watermelon? Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you heard that right. A shocking racist video going viral tonight and putting the spotlight on two local teenagers. The video sparking outrage on Twitter after it was initially posted on the app Tik Tok. CBS 46's Tracy Bragg spoke to students about this disturbing video.
It's a growing social media trend where you take water and pour it into a bucket to visually show the recipe to create something. In a video released last night, the normally innocent and uplifting challenge was used to promote hate.
Today we're making... First we have...
I thought, why would somebody make a video like this just for entertainment purposes?
Today I caught up with Carrollton High School student athlete Juan Nieves and a few of his teammates. The racist video two of their classmates made.
Next we have... Don't have a dad.
Have a dad? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was on everyone's mind.
I walk through the halls with those folks and see that they think about us like that.
Next we have... Rob people?
Specifically whites, yeah, they do that.
In the racist viral TikTok video, the two students used derogatory ingredients.
Next one is make good choices. Let's see.
There's nothing there.
Terrell Carmichael knows both students in the video.
They would not know them tall like this. That was a complete surprise to everybody in our school.
After the video was released, Carrollton High School's principal launched an investigation. In a statement, he said, even if the offending incident was recorded after school hours, it doesn't alleviate the student's responsibility to uphold a high standard of behavior. Carrollton City Schools Superintendent Dr. Mark Albertus said he, quote, was deeply disturbed by the overt racist tone of the TikTok video. The district expelled both students by 3 p.m. Friday.
That was the best way to handle it, in my opinion.
Both students I spoke to today tell me the racist views portrayed in that TikTok video are not shared by the majority of the students here at Carrollton High School. Reporting in Carrollton, I'm Tracy Bragg, CBS 46 News.
Okay, there you saw it. Now, first of all, of insignificance, I've never heard of that challenge, pouring things into a bucket to mimic the creation of a recipe or anything. That minor thing being put aside, that's just because I'm behind the times when it comes to the cool kids and everything like that. But interesting video. When I first saw it, I watched it one time before I went ahead and played it here for this video. And when I saw it initially, you see the piece of paper in the beginning. They cut the video kind of differently where it skips around a little bit. So that's not the best representation of the actual video itself, but it's the best one I could actually find right now. So when I saw the piece of paper in the sink said what it said, I had no idea what was about to happen. I had no idea what was happening because I didn't know about the challenge. What I thought when they started adding water, I kind of still didn't get it at that point. I was thinking something along the lines of, and this is something that may be a little bit cheesy, but being the age I am, I remember when I was younger, they would have these little toys you could throw into the water. They were for your bath. They were little dinosaur shapes and other things like that where you throw them in the water and they expand. I actually thought, like I said, I'm so far behind. I was sitting here thinking, as they're putting all of this water into the sink, I was thinking something was going to come of it at the end. Like I said, I am totally way off when it comes to the things young people do on social media. So me, like a fool, sitting over here, wait for a sponge to grow out of the water or something like that, something ridiculous, because I didn't really think that people would go to that length to do something to, I don't know, I just couldn't think of a way where people would really do that thinking that it was going to be funny. Oh, goodness. I'm trying to think through it. I'm thinking through this and I'm trying to think of what possibly they could have been thinking, like, with what happened, maybe you don't see the expulsion happening when you're 17 or 18-year-old, like these kids I assume are, but we've seen individuals on the internet do stuff like this, whether it be racial, scam type things, anything where the internet doesn't take too kindly to what happened. And every time it happens, we see the individual just get torn to shreds on the internet, social media, all of that stuff. So how individuals that are a lot more tech savvy and aware of things couldn't have been aware that they were going to get destroyed by the internet is just beyond me. I don't know how they couldn't have seen this coming. I don't know how they couldn't have seen what happened happening. I don't understand. I really am at a loss. And I'll say this though. We'll let statistical data, facts, speak to whatever assertions they were trying to make. Whether or not that stuff is true or not, the statistical data is out there that could prove or disprove whatever they are saying in terms of crime, fatherless households, food consumption. That data is out there. So we don't need to really get into that too much, but we can draw our own conclusions from that. Like I said, the information's out there. There's no real debating any of that stuff. We can just simply point to the statistics and the evidence. But for me, what I would point to is what Juan was saying in the video. He's the football player they were talking to. He was saying that expulsion, that he felt that was the best course of action. And they always say we have freedom of speech, right? But they also say freedom of speech isn't without consequence. They don't work for a company, per se. Imagine if they worked for a company. They were in adulthood already. They had graduated high school or college and gone on to get a job with a company, and they did something like this. Well, then, yeah, obviously the company's going to fire them just like that, because you can't have individuals like that representing your brand. Some companies have individuals representing their brand that have a lot of negative connotation and baggage that come with them, but not in the sense of coming out and doing something directly like this. It's more the indirect, kind of the softer way of stoking the racial divide, if you will. And you can think of companies like Nike, for instance, and who they choose to employ. That's just one off the top of my head. I'm sure there's many others that you can think of. So while I think it's best that those individuals were expelled, the logic for me is a lot different than what Juan was probably thinking. He's probably thinking, oh, F them, right? And that's cool. You know, he can feel how he wants to feel about that. But what my feeling is that you couldn't have these individuals going back into school after this video happened, because there's no way they would make it through the first day back in school unless they had armed guards on them the whole day. There's no way they would make it through a school day without getting that work from somebody. And that goes for the girl too. There would have been plenty of girls lined up waiting to drop them knuckles on her, that's for sure. Wow. Aside from that though, yeah, definitely you don't want them on campus, but I don't know if expulsion was right in the sense of solving the problem. I don't know if these individuals would pursue some kind of legal challenge. I would, but then again, I wouldn't say something like that to begin with. I really don't know that was the best course of action for the district. Now we'll see. Perhaps the individuals just transfer somewhere else, but can you imagine if they transferred somewhere else? Supposedly this was a boyfriend and a girlfriend, but can you imagine if they transfer somewhere else? Come on. That video is going to follow you no matter where you go. Living in Georgia, you could go to Maine, you can go to California, Hawaii, Alaska. Somebody somewhere is going to have seen that video, and that's the thing about going viral, right? You don't want to go viral for the wrong reasons. But just to kind of wrap it up, I would say this. Free speech, this is a perfect example of why you want free speech, why you don't want any kind of censorship. We're not talking about the ramifications or the penalties for it. We're just talking strictly about free speech. And this is the great thing about the United States and why we have to fight to protect free speech. I want to see this coming. I want to know what an individual is all about, that I would deal with, that I would interact on a day-to-day basis. I don't want somebody to be a closet, whatever, phobe, ism, they want to call it, or attached to somebody. I don't want that individual to be closeted with their beliefs and their ways. I would rather somebody be honest, forthright, that put out the video, and like we saw, society deals with its problems. In this case, they put out something that they thought was funny or would fly. Young people do dumb stuff, but most people don't take it that far. As a young person, I did plenty of dumb things. TPing the principal's house was as far as I ever went. Obviously, in hindsight, toilet paper wasted, right? We could use a lot of that right now. I really would rather see somebody for what they are. I want somebody to tell me what they are when they think the cameras aren't on. In this case, they knew the cameras are on, but I want to see what somebody's all about and know if that person poses any kind of danger to me if I'm interacting with them on a day-to-day basis. So, like I said, I don't want somebody to be closeted or have some kind of hatred towards me for who I am, what I represent, and hopefully that's what the individuals at the school and other people take away from this is that's why we fight to protect the right of free speech, in a way. And that's, in a way, in my opinion, is, like I said, I just want to know. I want to see it coming so that I know if somebody's coming at me who doesn't like me for anything about myself, that I know when they get in my space that that I'm going to know what time it is and I'm going to know what kind of work I have to put in. That if somebody steps to me incorrect and I already know what they're about, then I know, hey, I better get off first and I better put that work in before they get a one-up on me. So tying that back to this case, had these individuals gone back to class, and why do we have football practice footage right now in April? I thought schools were closed, but I'm hoping that's old footage because he's talking about classmates, so I'm hoping that's old footage they're showing. I know Georgia's talking about reopening and stuff like that, but why is football practice going on? Back to the point. For these individuals in the video, I hope the football players and everybody in the school would see these individuals for what they are. Obviously, they're not going to be back on campus, but you get to see them for what they are, and you can decide how to deal with it. Now, the school dealt with it the way they had to. Again, it's so dicey because I hear a lot of schools now, they're not punishing students. And this varies from district to district, of course, but they're not punishing students for acts of acting out, acts of aggression, be those against teachers, against other students. They're not suspending individuals at all. So I think about it in that sense. It's like the standard, it seems to be different based on your jurisdiction and a whole host of other factors. I hear these things and I get confused because I'm like, oh, okay, well, they're not suspending kids anymore for fighting. They're not suspending kids anymore for mouthing off to teachers. They're not suspending kids for being late so many amount of times. They're not suspending kids for anything. And again, this is just certain jurisdictions that are doing this that I've heard about. It's probably 6 months ago to a year ago I heard about some of this happening. But then you're suspending for this. So I think it just sends kind of a conflicting message. How do you punish some behavior, but not all behavior? Just be consistent with it. I think all I ever want is just to see consistency in the punishment. If we're talking about trying to help them grow into being responsible teenagers and then going on to be responsible adults, teaching them how to properly conduct themselves as individuals, and when they don't, having some checks and balances in place. All of that said, woo, can you imagine the parents of these kids, what they're thinking right now? Because you know that social media doesn't just stop at the kids. Social media is going to find the parents. They're going to find where the parents live. They're going to find where they work. They're going to try to find their phone number. They're going to be all over them trying to make sure those parents get fired too. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Perhaps in a few days the parents will come out with a statement or something like that. And you would expect the kids as well to come out with some kind of statement. But one other source I had looked at said the girl was placing the blame on the boyfriend and saying that his racist ways slowly crept into her life. So we'll see. If they broke up, then we'll believe her story. But if they're still together, then obviously you can't believe that story. But again, like I said, Second Amendment rights, that's why you fight for them, because I definitely want to see something like this coming so I know to have my guard up. That's just me. I don't know how all of you feel about it, but fight to protect it. All right, everybody. Take care. Thanks for watching the video.